Welcome, welcome. Ernie, how you doing today? You all right?
I am good. It's a little chilly here in Chicago, and it is absolutely blanketed with snow, but I'm inside, and I'm good. How are you doing?
Glad to hear it. It's still locked down. We do have a glimmer of hope on possibly getting out sometime soon.
Here we
So
go.
that's always good to know. Thank you all for joining us. We have a very special guest today. She's in our AC Live green room. Which, Ernie, I was thinking about this the other day. Like, when the show gets so big that we actually have like writers and requests for the green room, sort of like the Brown M&Ms and the Van Halen story, and what's really interesting is there's lots of inspiration here too. For example, back in my Marketo days when I worked with Maria Pergolino, who's now the CMO of ActiveCampaign, we came up with. She brought in this the Foo Fighters writer. Their backstage writer, and Dave Grohl is so clever and creative. We all love Dave Grohl. It's actually a comic book, like an activity book, for the writer of all the things that Dave Grohl needs or the Foo Fighters need to do a big show. And so we took that and we turned it into I think it was the first marketing activity book, which was one of the most successful campaigns we did at Marketo. It's still out there. It's a lot of fun. The big marketing activity book, I think it was. Before all the rage of doing children's books and coloring books for marketers. This was a long time ago, but all inspired by Dave Grohl and the Foo Fighters writer. And I think Maria found it on Smoking Gun. So, yeah, take a look there. I'm looking at the comments, and I don't have any comments yet. So if you are live, please say hello, say where you're from. And if you have a good green room story, never mind, forget I said that. Let's get on with the show. Where do you want to start today, Arnie?
We could start with any cool things of the week. Did you have a cool thing?
I have a cornucopia.
Oh,
a horn of plenty of cool things of the week. Let's get started. All right, as I go through the sharing process here. I found a couple cool things. So I like to build. So I'm gonna build on this one, which popped up in my feed this morning. I know all the rage was around the Zoom cat.
yeah.
Right.
Yes.
So looks like this guy one-upped him, and
Oh no.
It looks like an upside down congressman. And so what happened was this gentleman could not figure out how to turn himself the other way around there. So. That's
I've got a question here. Who is using the congressman's Zoom account to the point where this is like the preset? He gets into the meeting and he's upside down. Like, who's in there last?
I know, because it is in the settings, and I tried to replicate this and I couldn't figure it out. And I think I'm pretty Zoom savvy, I would say. I do want to share one more cool thing I found. Cool thing of the week. This one, I don't know how I missed this, but it came out late last year. By the way, cool things of the week are not required to be in this week. It could be any week. I should preface that. And let me bring this up. This is fascinating to me. This is so this guy from CNET. Tell me if you've seen this one. This guy pre-recorded himself in video meetings for a week, and so he created a little bit of a loop. And it's a whole. He did a hell of a job with this as a story. And he works at CNET, and it turns out that at the end of the week, no one figured out that he wasn't there. It was all a pre-recorded thing. A little bit of virtual cams from Ecamm, and a little bit of fun recording, and some pre-recorded responses that he would trigger from Ecamm, which is fascinating. But on the Friday, and like, there's actually sections in the show where they're like, "What'd you think about that?" And he hits the "I'm on top of it," and it fools them, and they get it. And I'm not recommending anybody do this. The only thing he said that you could really tell to where it wasn't real is because the loop went forwards and backwards. So he was actually spitting his coffee back out into his mug and drinking it.
No.
And nobody actually saw it. But at the end of the week, here's the sort of the climax of the story. At the end of the week, he had to say what he was been working on all week, and he's like, I've been working on this project. I have not been in any of the meetings, and all these brainstorm sessions, I was not there. It was pre-recorded. So it's a fascinating story. Again, here's the guy, and he tells it very well. It's about 5 minutes. I highly recommend it. I don't recommend you try this, but it is a fun story that I wanted to share. So, Ernie, what do you got for cool things of the week?
That is absolutely ridiculous. That's like the modern day version of Ferris Bueller's Day Off, where Ferris has like the dummy in the bed and everything rigged up. Like
I didn't even think about that.
Virtual Ferris Bueller. What I have this week, I don't have a link, unfortunately, but there are tons of them from news articles. Is I saw a headline called about Yardi Gras. So Mardi Gras is going on, or traditionally would be going on, down in New Orleans this week. But obviously, with all of the situation going on in the world, they have taken it upon themselves to just decorate their yards as floats instead of having the parades, which were canceled. So just a cool little creative thing that I saw. And I love a good portmanteau. So combining yard with Mardi Gras, Yardi Gras, I love it. I'm a sucker for that. But pretty cool stuff. People went all out decorating their houses and, keeping the spirit of Mardi Gras alive, even in these strange and containing times, we'll say.
Yeah, I love a good play on words. We were vacationing, if you can call it that, over the summer in Sussex during a brief break of the lockdown, and there was a truck in Sussex called William the Concreter, and it was a company. I thought that was very clever. So hey, Sue, look at Sue here. I think she solved our issue with the congressman. Maybe his external camera is literally upside down. Could be. Look at this. We have Mike Grady. Mike, how you doing? From Chicago. We're also global with Michelle De Lele Boucun. I probably butchered that, but I gave it a shot. And we also have look at this, all the way from Denmark. John, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you.
Love it.
Welcome to the program. And we have Mario. Hello, everyone from Madrid, Spain. Love Madrid. Big fan. I think I saw Steel Panther in Madrid last time I was there. Steel Panther. Wow. And there was that's another story. Anyway, so we got one more quick segment before we bring on our special guest, Janine Coombes. She is a marketing coach, and she will tell us more about that. But she is a lot of fun. She has the personality for videos, and I absolutely love it. Ernie, you saw one of these videos, right?
I did. Yes, I watched it, and it made me laugh out loud several times. Excellent.
Look, we got Kyle from Cape Town, South Africa. Never been there, but you're on the same time zone, which I think is fascinating for me here in London. We have a hello from sunny Florida. Florida. Love Florida. All right. So we have one more quick segment for you. We didn't do this one last week, but I wanted to bring it back. It's called Book of the Week. Here we go. So I actually brought two this week since we skipped last week. I think we did. Anyway, I want to remind you that the All New This Just Works, the event, it's free to register. You can sign up now. We have 3 events. One of them starts on next Thursday with Jonah Berger. I'm in the middle of reading his new book, The Catalyst, How to Change Anyone's Mind. And I thought it'd be fun to read one little excerpt from the back here. The Catalyst is a fascinating read and a powerful toolkit to help us change minds, organizations, and hopefully even the world. Oh, there's no exclamation point on that. Hold on. And hopefully even the world. And that was Ariana Huffington.
Should be. Should be an exclamation point.
Should be. Jonah will be our guest on the and I'm working on the monologue. We have a monologue for the show. I've been rehearsing the monologue all week, and I'm going to deliver this live. I can't believe it. I'm not a comedian. I don't really know what I'm doing, but it was written by an ex-SNLer, so I will tell you that. Second book for me, and Ernie, I know you got a good one too. I want to give a shout out. This is something not usually in my bookshelf, but Ask Your Developer from Jeff Lawson, who's the CEO of Twilio. Now, this is interesting to me because he makes the argument that there's so many lessons that you can get from your developers. Like innovation starts with the developers. For example, Uber's not a car company; they're a software company, and they leverage their software developers to actually change the experience of the car. So fascinating read. I'll give you one quick. I love the top one here, the top excerpt or quote, if you will, or blurb. Blurb. Who doesn't love a good blurb? Jeff Lawson's Ask Your Developers, the ultimate guide for creating a software developer culture that unlocks the passion, creativity, and empathy needed to build amazing products and succeed in the digital economy. Mr. Mark Benioff, Chairman and CEO of Salesforce. Now, if that isn't an endorsement, I don't know what the hell is. Check this book out. It's a little bit different, but I think it just tells you everyone should be closer to the developers to unleash creativity and innovation. Ernie, what do you got?
It. I have this book called Made to Stick. It's a little bit older.
Classic.
Yes, classic. Chip and Dan Heath. Great book about why good ideas are good, why sticky ideas are sticky, and how you can help make your ideas good and sticky. It's very actionable. There's a lot of good stories, anecdotes, examples throughout history. But yeah, this is a good one. I finished this one later last year, and it definitely changed the way I look at ideating.
Yeah, it's a good point, because I see so many people posting to social and they just say, check out my blog post. It's very, it's like a military, like they're ordering you around, and there's a different way to do this. And not only thinking about how you post your content, but how you create your content. We'll get into that too. I know Janine is got quite a few things to say about that. I do want to clarify one thing here with Mike. Mike, there was no, I did not steal a panther. It was the band Steel Panther from Los Angeles. And who else we have here? Oh man, the Panther jokes continue. Oh, look at that, Janine. I'm going to bring Janine in just a second. Tuning in from the beach, sea, and more. This is Mr. Mark Masters from Bournemouth. He's been working out over lockdown, as you can see. And we have hello from Dublin. Looking forward to this. Thank you. And we have, oh, look at this. Yeah, like the budget's going up. Boom, look at that. ActiveCampaign. My kids will break this in less than 2 weeks. I promise you that. So without further ado, it's time to bring on our big guest, Janine Coombes. We're going to bring in, welcome to the program. Janine, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for joining the show. And we have another guest from the UK. I think we were probably doing this in a studio if there was not lockdown order. But where are you at, Janine?
Southwest London, Surbiton.
And I'm just a little bit north of you here in Battersea. So anyway, Janine, can you talk, first of all, tell us what you do, what a marketing coach is, and why it's different than a regular coach. And then we have some questions for you. And you have a really interesting journey on how you got to where you're at today. I want to talk about that too. But yeah, give us a quick rundown on, Janine, what is a marketing coach, and why do they matter, and why do we need them?
What is a marketing coach? I wrote a blog on this. I've written, if in doubt, write a blog. So it's different from a normal coach. A normal coach will probably have some sort of coaching accreditation, and they will be trained in sort of guiding you in a non-directive way. Whereas I have a coaching approach, but what I'm helping people with is their marketing strategy. And so it's a blend of marketing consultation and coaching as well.
Excellent. Thank you for that. And so before we get into the nitty gritty and you dive into some brilliant advice that I've seen watching your videos and reading your blog, can you talk about your journey from corporate marketing to marketing coach? I think this is fascinating. I think we all know that no one really chose to be a marketer in many cases. We all sort of fell into it. At least I did. And I mean, no one grows up. There's no, dress up as a marketer for Halloween or anything like that. That's a little ridiculous. But you know what I'm saying. Janine, can you talk about that story and how are you better off now?
Yeah, I know what you mean. No, I didn't have dreams of being a marketer. It was sort of a logical progression from uni. It's like, oh, what do I do at uni? I'll do business studies, or marketing's quite fun. Oh, I've got a marketing career. And I came out of corporate about 10 years ago or so. Having my kids gave me the opportunity to get out and get some headspace and decide what I wanted to do with my life, and didn't want to do the commute anymore. So yeah, I'm trying to think, what was the interesting bit? What did I tell you that was so interesting about my story?
Well,
is it the bit where
the difference between working in a corporate world, which doesn't work for all of us, and then working for yourself, that transition? What'd you learn? What'd you take with you? What'd you leave behind?
Yeah, so I've brought a lot from my corporate career, and I do see a lot of marketers who have come out of corporate or have done a marketing degree or a business degree, and I've seen them say things like, oh, I didn't, now everything's changed, it's all different. I completely disagree with that. I think I've brought a lot from my business degree, a lot from my marketing qualifications, and a lot from corporate as well. It all starts with the goals. It's all so simple to me. I look at marketing and it's all so simple. You look at your goals, you try and get there as efficiently and as painlessly as possible. So that's what I brought. And I personally prefer working for myself. It took me a while to get into that headspace where I'm the leader of my own very, 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 very small business. But I think most business owners that I know have to make that jump sooner or later from employee mindset to you're running your own business, and you have to actually be a leader whether you want to or not.
Good, excellent advice. Ernie, you got a question for Janine?
Yeah, you just mentioned that, like, thinking about marketing as being simple. And why do you think marketing is so hard for smaller business owners? Are they overcomplicating it? Are there actual, I'm sure there are actual challenges, but I'd be curious to hear your opinion on why it's so difficult for small business owners in particular.
I think if you haven't come through the sort of route I've come at it from, I think it's very easy to think, okay, marketing, what is marketing? I can see people doing blogs and podcasts and video and advertising, and you see all the channels, you see all the visible bits, which is right at the end of the marketing planning process. The way so people are doing it back to front. They're sort of like, oh my gosh, I need to be on Instagram, and oh, that's not working, I'll try Pinterest. Oh, that's not working, I'll try LinkedIn. And actually it should be the other way around. Get clear on what you want your business to be like, how you want it to run, the shape of it, the general shape of how you want to earn money, who you're helping, just even a vague idea to begin with. People niche too soon, in my opinion, or they try and niche. And what are you helping them with? What are their problems? And then when you come at it from that point of view, it narrows down your available options, and you sort of can make wiser decisions and make more efficient decisions. And then personally, I'm all in on the LinkedIn, just all in. You can find me on Instagram, but I won't have posted in the last year.
Yeah, you can find me on Clubhouse. Well, you can find my name on Clubhouse, but not Clubhouse. I'm figuring out Clubhouse. We're getting there. TikTok's the same way. It's like I'm there. I'm figuring it. I'm trying. I'm working on it, man. I wasn't ready for Clubhouse. But you spoke about being clear on your offer, Janine. I wonder, how, number one, where does a business start to find that clarity for that single offer? What their unique value proposition is, or what their service is, or their product? What's the first thing they have to do to figure out, or get down the road to make sure it's clear? And then how do they know if that's even right? How do they even know if they have the right offer?
So for some people, I think it's easier than others. So some people, they've got a product idea. Using an example, one of my friends, she does a subscription service for activated nuts. So that's what she's passionate about. She created this product, and that is her business. Nut Mad, if you want to look at that up, it's a UK-based company, and Michaela runs it, and that's it. That's the product. So she's got it. She doesn't have to wonder about why people buy it. From a service-based point of view, if you've come straight out of corporate and you're reselling your skills, that can be quite an easy way in. You can sort of say, okay, so I used to do social media for a supermarket chain. Now I know how to help product owners sell their stuff on Instagram or whatever. Sometimes that can be quite easy. Other times, I wonder if it's generalists that find it more difficult. I was definitely a generalist. I was never specifically an email marketer, or specifically working on the websites, or specifically working in one area, or I was quite sort of a hub, sort of coordinating a lot of different things in a big business. And I really, really, really struggled to decide who I should be targeting with what. And I see a lot of other people struggling as well. And my advice would be, pick somebody. If you've worked with anybody and you've enjoyed it, focus on that to begin with. What did they come to you with? What problem did they want you to solve? Put something together that solves that problem, and tweak as you go.
That's interesting. I had an argument on LinkedIn, a debate, around what I call sort of a hybrid marketer, because I agree with you. I've always been sort of a generalist, and I used to say, if you're a one-dimensional marketer, that you're easily disposable, and I didn't mean that, universally. Everyone thinks this is like the blanket statement, but with machines automating more and more, it's like, how can you find that space where you're differentiating yourself? And I think it's understanding how the different marketing disciplines fit together and how you can offer that. But I really like what you said about reselling your experiences, services. I've never heard anybody put it like that, which is interesting to me. I wonder, obviously we're in the middle of a pandemic. We're getting ready to come out, hopefully, on the other side sooner than later. What advice do you have for, I guess, for marketers or for small businesses to come out? Like, how do we reopen? How do we reconnect? How do we adjust? It's a big question, but what's your advice there?
So are we talking specifically to people who have had to close? Is that what we're saying?
What's that?
Are you talking about people who've had to close during the pandemic? Because a lot of businesses some people are doing better, aren't they?
Yeah, I think Microsoft sort of calls it the second digital transformation. LinkedIn is calling it return to work. But I wonder, it's partly that. It's partly reopening their business, but also maybe the folks who have become completely digital only need to sort of branch out into a physical presence as well. Just your general thoughts on that.
So in an ideal world, if you had the headspace and the energy, then you would be still talking to your customers, even if you've had to close. So there's a local my hairdressers nearby. They barely opened and they had to close down. They were new in the area. But they've been keeping in touch with people. They've been carrying on posting on Facebook. I suppose they've got nothing else to do. They're not allowed to cut anybody's hair or dye anybody's hair. So they've been keeping in touch with their customers and finding ways to connect with them. And they found the odd way to try and earn some money, like selling packs of hair products and things like that. But in an ideal world, if you're able to do it, it's best to keep in contact rather than have severed contact and then try and reconnect.
Yeah, it's interesting. Doug Kessler, I think we both have a mutual friend in Doug Kessler. He was talking about this as well. And like, there's no playbook on this. No one's really figured this out. But he said there's some folks who are maybe trying to be more important than they actually are to you. Like I think he mentioned, I don't want to mention names, but he mentioned a business that accepts electronic payments, and he's like, and they're trying to be like, oh, in these unprecedented times, and he's like, look, I just use you to purchase things on eBay. Like, I don't really need that. But then there was another one, was a local restaurant called the Hawksmoor, which is a high-end steakhouse, and they were just sending them updates on how the family was doing. It was a family-owned business, and how they're planning to return. So I think there's some lessons there. Ian Laurie from London here, a friend of mine. Thank you for joining, Ian. I ask a question for you, Janine. Advice on the big pivot that so many SMEs have to do in the last 12 months. He says, a service that's worked for X number of years and suddenly stalls, travel events, etc. Any thoughts on the big pivot?
I've written a blog on this. You'll be stunned. I can't remember the exact name. I'll have to put it in the comments. But there's an age-old matrix. I don't know how au fait you are with Ansoff's matrix. I'm going to make everybody fall asleep now. But it's kind of, it puts puts risk into context. If you're going to think about pivoting your business, think very carefully, because are you just trying to offer what you're offering now to new people, or are you trying to offer something now, or are you trying to offer something new to the same people, or are you trying to do both? Because I saw quite a few people offering something completely left field to people who had no idea who they were, and essentially they were starting their business from scratch. Ouch. So I'd approach any pivot with real caution and just stop and have a think about the repercussions of that decision, because it can be huge. You could be completely starting a business afresh, and that's okay as long as you know that that's what you're doing.
Excellent. That is really good advice. I mean, I do see some services and some offerings coming from people that I would not expect, and I think that's great advice. Ernie, I know we have a few more questions for you. What's on your mind?
I would be curious to hear your opinion or your favorite small businesses that are doing marketing right, or some of the campaigns that you've seen, some things that you've seen that really stand out to you that you're like pretty impressed with, or just thought of as a unique and fresh approach?
Oh, so many people, and whoever I don't mention, they're going to be like, "Ow, Janine, you didn't mention me." So no offense to people I haven't mentioned. Lindsay Cambridge and Martin Huntbatch are trailblazers. Love those guys. Jammy Digital is the name of their business, and I'm in their membership, and they've written a book. You should have this on your weekly book.
Content Fortress?
Content Fortress. Look at that.
Sounds serious.
That is like some serious notes being taken there. They've just revamped their newsletter, which is really, really good. Their content is always really on point. You want, in an ideal world, your content needs to read like you're reading your audience's mind. It's like, yes, that's the next blog I wanted to read. How did you know? And it's just, listening to their members and listening to the people in their audience and answering all their questions. But they're doing really well. I like their stuff a lot.
Yeah. Our good friend Mark Masters introduced us. Can you tell me how you met Mark, by the way?
This is how detailed do you want this story?
Well, let me just set it up. Like a quick overview. Like Mark Masters runs You Are the Media Group here out of Bournemouth in the UK. I came across this guy. He did an incredible pivot with his business, where he took one of my favorite events in the world, You Are the Media conference, and turned it onto a lunch club. And it's so inspiring to watch him work. And that's how I actually found you, was on one of his shows. So You Are the Media, Mark Masters, sign up for it if you're not already. He is incredibly insightful and inspiring. But I saw you speak on one of his conferences. I'm just wondering, I met Mark through, I think, John Burkhart and maybe Doug Kessler. And we ran around town, doing pub crawls and whatnot. But how did you come across Mr. Masters?
Well, it was one of these strange things. So I'm friends with John Esperian, who's a bigwig on, do you know? Yeah.
Oh, I know John. John knows more about LinkedIn than LinkedIn knows about LinkedIn.
He does, doesn't he? He's the ghost in the machine or something. And I'd never met him, but we'd known each other online for about a year. It sounds creepy, but it wasn't. And I knew I wanted to meet him, and then that was in the days when you were allowed to meet people and actually like touch them and things. And he said, "Oh, I'm going to You Are the Media." I'd never heard of You Are the Media, so I actually went to the 2019, I think, You Are the Media to meet John Esperian.
Yeah, wow.
And turned
John's
out
a legend.
really, really good.
I was there the year before. I think I was the opening session, and Mark Schaefer was the closing session. But yeah, we got to hang out with John. He's a good guy. Anyway, the reason that I was so intrigued by you is I went sort of down the Janine Coombes sort of rabbit hole. I saw you talk about how you got to the #1 spot on Google, and for someone to talk about that in the world of like technical SEOs and whatnot, it's really not as complicated as people make it out to be in certain instances. And I love that video. And I went on to watch a bunch of other videos, which Ernie, I asked Ernie to watch a couple of your videos before this, and he's got some commentary on that. But can you talk briefly about that just that journey, that one little episode about how you got to the #1 spot on Google, how you differentiated yourself, how you wrote the content, and it was quite easy, was it not?
Yeah, I just thought for the search term marketing coach, I wouldn't have had a hope at all of getting even on the first page. And I've got a tool now that I can use to see how difficult it would be to rank for certain search terms. But at the time, I just wanted to explore for myself. And I knew that my potential clients wouldn't really know what a marketing coach was. And I couldn't really define it very well. So I thought, well, this will be, killing two birds with one stone. And I can explore the topic for myself. I can put my stake in the ground, and I'm answering a question they will have, because I'd only recently started calling myself a marketing coach. And I wanted to, it was a bit of an education piece, I suppose. But there is just little tips I'd picked up along the way, partly from the guys at Jammy Digital. Things like repeating your keyword in H2 tags in your titles, and making sure that your blog's scannable. And I write my blogs for me as much as the audience. I really like to really dig into something. And when I'm writing a blog, it's it's helping me work through my ethos on a certain topic. And they end up being quite long, but I don't do that on purpose. It's just I want to really, really dig into it, into the topic. Is that what you asked?
yeah, no, it's perfect.
Yeah, a lot of what you've been saying, at least the theme that I've kind of picked up on is solving problems. So it's like, what problems does your business solve? And then where are people who are looking for answers to that problem, as opposed to just saying, I need to be on this social media site or this social media site. It's like actually being targeted in terms of, what problems you're solving, where the people that have those problems are looking for the answer, and how they want the answer. And so one thing that we kind of noticed here, like just along the same lines as your blog and how you're using video within the blog, could you talk about any strategy or advice that you might have for businesses that are struggling to create content, whether that's creating a blog or creating a video or writing a blog?
Yeah, I would say, absolutely. The problems, that's the way around to think about it, to think about content. And I see so many people struggling. What shall I post today? Or what shall I write this blog about? The answer is always in the minds of your potential clients. What are their misconceptions about what you do? What are their expectations? Are there any myths around what you do? Or is there anything that you need to educate them on? But definitely it all stems from what their problems are. And with regards to sort of blog writing or video or podcasting, I'd say go with what you enjoy. So, and that goes for selection of social media channel as well. I see people thinking, oh gosh, are my customers on LinkedIn? Are my customers on Instagram? They're everywhere. There are millions and millions and millions of people on every single social media platform. If you're already on Instagram and you're enjoying it as a consumer, as a user, then use that for your business, because you won't have to learn how the platform works. For some reason, I got stuck on LinkedIn a few years ago now. I just love it. And I'm just, it would be madness for me I'm still not maximizing it. When I've completely maximized it, then I will add another social media platform.
Yeah,
although having said that, I have joined Clubhouse today.
I will see you in there, or maybe I won't, because there was a room going till like 2 a.m. the other night, and I'm going, man, what, don't people have things to do? Like, what's going on here? But I do pop into some very interesting conversations, and Dennis Yu, pretty much the smartest Facebook guy in the world. If you want to follow him, he's given away some really good advice in there. Anyway, enough about Clubhouse. I want to get back to the blog, something that I know works, something I believe works. I believe that the blog is the most underutilized channel, tactic, whatever the hell you want to call it. The blog is the mothership for all things social media. I used to say that social media is the rug that ties the room together, or the blog is the social media rug that ties the room together. Very Big Lebowski, the dude abides. But I just cannot believe how many people sort of discount the blog. Even when I started LinkedIn years and years and years ago, the blog wasn't getting much love, and we focused on it, we grew it, and we turned it into a top 5 performing digital channel for us. And it is, I think people overcomplicate this, and just how do you just write a story or write something, solve a problem, one post, one story, one problem. You did a great, one of my favorite posts that you did was the and how you I love that Ernie brought that up. Each blog post is supplemented with a really fun video. You have a great personality, and I'm assuming you have a background in acting. Maybe no. It could have fooled me. There's a video we call the show "I See Dead Marketing," and it was all about. I think you showed some tactics, some marketing strategy or tactics that some folks might claim to be dead, but I think claiming that any marketing discipline is dead is so passé, and email marketing's dead, blogging's dead, social media is dead. There's a funny story about the New York Times. They reported that email marketing was dead, and it was one of their biggest stories. This is in 2006, I think. But the only reason I saw the article is because it was delivered to me via email, their own email platform. So it kind of contradicts stuff. Anyway, I wonder if you could give us your thoughts on that. On number one, trying things that people might say are dead or not worth your time, and the second part is people who just claim that something's dead to get attention.
Yeah, I think you might be right. I haven't seen much marketing is dead, this is dead, that is dead in the last year or so. So maybe it is a bit passé. Maybe it is dead. Maybe we'll do an ironic, article on how saying things are dead is now dead. But it's just an easy attention grabber, isn't it? It's very dramatic. It's like that thing that you thought was, it's dead now, or so you must read my stuff. I don't like that sort of thing. I don't like sort of dogmatic, this is my opinion presented as fact, and annoys me. I think people think that is marketing. I think they think that is marketing nowadays. You just have to be confident enough to say that your way is the only way, and that's how you make it. You don't have to. You don't have to be like that. There's so many people who aren't like that. You don't need to be like that.
I call that the marketing contrarian jerk strategy, where you make a comment just to rile people up, just to get a debate going, right?
Yeah.
I do want to go to a couple of comments here. Look at Ian. I know Ian. How you doing, buddy? Good to see you, man. Thanks for joining us. This is cool. My favorite email marketing solution, ActiveCampaign. I want to make sure everybody got that. My favorite email marketing solution, ActiveCampaign, going live and with Janine Coombes. What a treat! What a treat!
Lovely.
Oh, and Ian, we're going to continue with Ian here. Ironic articles are great, but can be misunderstood. I wrote an article on how to be a social media guru. It ended up being linked to, so a great way to actually become a social media guru. Yeah, but it's very meta, very Inception-esque.
I love that.
And Ian says, I'm still asking Jeeves. Ernie, you might not know Jeeves. We got a couple more questions I'm going to get to. Janine, you okay to stick around for a few minutes?
Yep.
Mike Grady. Oh man, low blows. Watch the low blows there, Mike. I'm pretty sure the QR code was declared dead in 2011. I see a lot of QR codes these days. It's funny because Scott Stratton claimed this. I think something about every time you scan a QR code, a kitten, you kill a kitten. I think was called his book. Anyway, but he opens up. There was a somebody in North America had put up a billboard with a giant QR code. Like, how the hell can you scan on a billboard on the side of the road? Anyway, thank you for the comment, Mike. Question from Cameron. What websites do you use to blog? I've only heard of Vocal. I don't know what Vocal is, but what platform do you use, Janine?
WordPress.
I'm all about WordPress. Easy to do. You put in the Yoast plugin. Your SEO is done for you. It's flexible.
Just turn off your brain and choose the obvious one.
Bring your questions. We got a few more. You are a ActiveCampaign customer. I got a couple questions for you about that. That's not why I reached out to you. It's just a happenstance or a coincidence. I'm wondering, with all the clients you have, what's the most? I really love this question. What's the most unusual request that you've gotten from a client over the years?
I'm so sorry. I don't have anything really interesting to answer this one. I haven't had any really unusual requests. I've had annoying requests where it's obvious they haven't understood what I do, but then I don't tend to work with those people. I did accidentally say I love you to somebody at the end of a sales call last year. That was quite good because she went for my one-to-one package and I accidentally said I love you.
That's customer love. That's not bad.
We laughed.
I mean, but no requests like, here's $5,000. We need to, we need to be number one in Google and on 16,000 search terms in 2 weeks.
Right. I know what you're. Yeah. I'm not a freelancer, so luckily I don't get that kind of thing. But before I did what I'm doing now, I was a freelancer for a year, and I did get some. It was the whole thing where I was paid for half an hour of my time per week to manage the Twitter and Facebook profile.
Oh, yeah. I remember you telling me about this.
I had half an hour, that was it, per week to manage all of their Facebook and all of their Twitter. And one of my clients at the time had 9 Facebook followers, and I was one of them. So,
oh, that's funny. I love that.
Really worth their money, really, even just half an hour of my time.
I wrote as a LinkedIn user. For some reason, sometimes LinkedIn Live doesn't pull through the actual person, so we'll just call them LinkedIn user. I wrote a cheeky article on content saturation, but seriously, what is your suggestion to avoid contributing to this problem? Oh, this is a great question. How do you solve the what did Mark Schaefer call it? Peak content or content? What was that? Remember what he called that years ago? Where it was where the amount of content in the world surpassed the number of people who could actually consume it. I forgot what it was called. Anyway, what's your advice for LinkedIn user?
I think, can we all just agree to just do fewer things but better quality? And if seriously, if we focused on what people actually needed, the problems, then I think everybody would be much happier.
I love that advice. Ian says creativity. I spend a lot of time talking about creativity as the differentiator, right? As in, machines. The one thing that machines can't really do is sort of be creative. And you could argue this and say, oh, but this AI Watson recreated a Rembrandt, or it wrote a musical on Broadway a couple years ago. Actually, it was Android Lloyd Webber. No good.
Yeah, I like that.
All right, so that's real, but that comes back to, was the machine actually just mimicking the artist, or was it actually creating something? I don't think it was creating something, So I always say lead with creativity. But you make up a good point. Anne Hanley says it quite a bit too. Slow down, fewer things done better, be more bold. Let's see if we got any other questions. Bring your questions. We got a few more minutes here with Janine, so bring your questions. Ernie, you got anything else before we dive into the last two questions here?
Just one thing that I noticed about in the I see dead marketing. One, I thought the said hi to someone at a networking event and got punched in the face line literally made me laugh out loud for longer than I would care to relay. But one thing that I thought was interesting that you mentioned was the product placement of the KFC buckets in Stranger Things, and sort of like native advertising or sponsored content like that. As time goes on, like the more ads that I see, the more shows that I see, it's sort of like that creative way to like splice product placement in or ads into places where you normally wouldn't be looking for them, and kind of they're affecting you and you don't even know that they're affecting you. Do you foresee any trends with that, specifically in the form of like small businesses and like localized native advertising?
Well, I do now you've mentioned it. Yeah, why not? The thing is, advertising and any kind of promotion of businesses has been very opportunistic since the dawn of branding a cow with a brand. It's any way to network with people, to get the message out, to as soon as advertising started getting established, it was everywhere, and now it's online. It's got even more. It's like a spreading. I'm trying to think of something that's not really, really horrible visual, like the Blob. It goes everywhere. So yeah, it's always been any opportunity. So any slight opportunity that opens up, promotion of businesses will fill that void. And will it happen more on a local basis? Why not? Like you can have really big influencer marketing campaigns, then you can have really localized, specific sponsorship opportunities. Why not?
Oh, it's funny. Deb Arthur brings up a good point. Yeah, because the DVRs and the ability to fast forward commercials, I guess there's nowhere else for them to go. You got to squeeze them in somewhere.
Yeah.
I like to call out that no one ever. I had an Architects t-shirt on last show, and I thought I was going to get a comment on that. I do a little brand placement, like Wayne's World, when they're like, oh, they're dressed eating the Doritos, and it's like sometimes people only do things because of money, and he's in a full Reebok outfit. And Ernie and I were talking about my hat today, Crossfade. This is a band from 2006 that had one hit, but no one ever calls anything out that maybe my references, my product placements are just too obscure. Mark Kitely, like foam in a water fountain. I'm not sure what that means.
I think he's saying goes everywhere, like my Blob.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of it.
I usually like a good analogy. Blob is not a good analogy, so he's trying to help me out.
Well, it depends if you're talking about the original Blob or the remake in the 80s.
I think I've only seen the remake.
What else do we have here? I do want to talk. You are a ActiveCampaign customer, and I wonder just a couple quick questions for you about that. How did you find ActiveCampaign, and what was the unique problem that you were looking to solve that we helped with?
I think I was shamed into taking ActiveCampaign. I think a friend of mine who was a bit further on in business, I was using, can I name other brands? Can I name other brands?
Of course you can.
I was using MailChimp. MailChimp is lovely for what you need, if you need things like that at the time. But ActiveCampaign is far more intuitive and has got more functionality. And it's, for me, I have found it easier to use. So my specific problem wasn't automating emails or sending out emails. It was the functionality and the future proofing.
Yeah, a solution that grows with you. I was getting a little bit nervous about where you were going. We have a fun little segment that I want to wrap up the show on in case we get any other questions here. There's lots of comments about the Blob. Ernie, have you seen the Blob?
I have not, but I was just going to say the analogy seems to be resonating with people. So Janine, even though you said it wasn't one of your favorites, maybe, but it seems to be being received well.
What was that analogy we had with Karina? Was it the dump of fries or something? For the
fries? The dump of fries was the phrase that you coined, but I think we tried to rephrase it to scoop of fries. But dump of fries might have
it's much more
its own social,
much more appealing. Yeah, the Blob's blowing up. Anyway, that was a frightening movie for me when I was growing up. I just watched. I mean, I'm on different tangents. I just watched Jaws the other day for the first time. Can you believe I've never seen that?
No, I don't.
Oh, it's a hell of a flick if you haven't seen it. But I watched it, and I tell you what, when that body flew out of the thing in the bottom, I jumped out of the chair, and I can't believe I'd never seen that. Hell of a film. This is what happens. This is what happens, right? Ernie, you're supposed to guide me into staying away from these tangents.
I'm not going to stop you from such vivid descriptions as when the body flew out of the thing at the bottom. I just want to throw that out there. I would never get in the way of that.
There was an argument on Twitter. Apparently, that's an iconic scene that if you don't flinch during that scene, then you're much braver than any soul on the planet. So that's sort of the litmus test on whether or not you can stand a horror flick. Look at Michael. Thank you. Look at this. Michael, huge fan of Oasis, Liam Gallagher. Thank you. By the way, that is a brand new edition back here. That is the original. That's a replica of the original Oasis logo from Brian Cannon at Microdot. I'm going to give him a little plug there because he's brilliant and he designed that logo. So thank you for that, Michael. Thank you for recognizing my product placements. Janine, we're going to wrap up with a little segment. We just added this last minute, so we don't have a little fun intro yet, but we're working on it. It's called Hot or Not. Not really original, but I like to play with this as we move into real-time content. I'm going to start off. I think we touched on this before, but basically I say hot or not, you say hot or not, and feel free to give us a reason why. Okay. Hot or not, we're going to start off with Clubhouse. And feel free to join in with the comments, too.
I got to say hot. I've just joined and I want some more followers. Hot.
Yeah? Ernie, where are you at on Clubhouse?
I got in there and I was very confused the entire time. So I'm not going to discount it on behalf of my experience. I would say hot as well, but for me, it's more lukewarm. Most of the people that follow me or I follow are all in the States, so I'm up pretty late if I'm listening to rooms. But I think it's got potential. It's going to be interesting to see. I guess Facebook is starting some sort of competitive product as well as Twitter. We'll see what happens there. Ernie, you want to take the next couple? Sure. Hot or not newsjacking. Janine, what do you think?
Hot.
Yeah? And I think this is all about Zoom and the cat. There's 3, and I feel like I missed all of them because I wasn't paying attention. The Bernie meme, should have jumped on that one. Newsjacking extraordinaire. I think you got about what's the time frame for the jumping on something like that? Is it one day and then you missed it?
Probably, yeah, maybe 48 hours pushing it.
The Bernie meme, and then it was the Zoom cat thing, and then there was another one that I saw that I'm like, damn it, why am I not thinking of these things? Zoom cats, we just covered that. Hot or not, Zoom cats. This one, I like this one. Brand mascots, hot or not?
It's okay. I'm going to say not, just to say one or the other word, but I'm sure they work for some brands, but not for mine.
I'm going to say not as well, because I think it's the safer choice, where if you did go with one, there's a chance that it might not come off the way that you want it to. So it takes a lot of careful planning and effort for a brand mascot to be hot versus the safe choice. That came out wrong.
Ernie, where's the ActiveCampaign mascot?
I've got a banner here. But Campy, the ActiveCampaign mascot, is around.
Yeah.
Are you being serious, or you just made that up?
About the name? I'm being serious.
Okay. I'm just going to imagine what that looks like.
It's a good move.
And the only reason I brought that up is because LinkedIn put out a new research. John Lombardo and Peter Weinberg, two very, very smart B2B marketers from the B2B Institute at LinkedIn, they put out a report, and it was interesting because I was reading through it, and their recommendation is to have a character for your brand. And I thought, oh, is that the same thing, a character or a mascot? And they had some examples, but I thought that was interesting. I had the idea with LinkedIn in the early days, and it was we'll talk about that later, but it didn't pan out well. But hopefully there's a new wave of characters coming out. What do you think about that, Janine? Characters for brands, is that the same thing as a mascot? Is there an opportunity here?
It sounds similar, doesn't it? I think good marketing starts with getting clear on what the company wants or needs. I don't like this sort of, I think this, you should do that. I've done it for my business, you should do it for your business. It's not how marketing works, people.
I like that.
How marketing works.
We got two more for you that I'm going to give to Ernie, but I do want to say I had $1 million idea, I think, last year, and I don't think I'm going to be able to pull it off. So I'm going to give out a free idea around mascots, and if someone wants to invite us to participate, I would be all in. So please take this idea, steal this idea, run with it. A Zoom call. You ready? Put on your marketing seatbelts. A Zoom call with all the SaaS mascots in one call. And you just need to because no one can say anything because they don't speak, but you just need a picture. And then you put that on social, and it's like Sassy from Salesforce and Marky Marketo and Campy and whatever other mascots. I thought that'd be a really fun meme. No good? Like
a sketch.
Yeah. Like a sketch, or just one image, like, got together with all my others. Here's a lockdown mascot meeting as they plan their comeback, right, to live events. There's something there. So someone please run with this. Michael says, and not hot on the brand mascots. That's fair enough. Ian says, Meerkat.
That's they still going strong.
I remember that. Meerkat, not hot. And here, not the God. Ian's pulling out a really bad Jason Miller idea from years ago that only he knows about. Anyway, Ernie, why don't you wrap it up with the last two here? Hot or not?
Okay, hot or not. Bridgerton.
I enjoyed it. Hot.
Okay, Jason?
Actually, the Duke.
What else you got?
Fair enough. And then today, the trailer for Cruella came out, which is the Cruella de Vil from 101 Dalmatians origin story. So origin story spinoffs, hot or not?
Hot. I just think everything is hot, don't I? Apart from brand mascots.
Origin story spinoffs. Cruella. That is that a Disney? Is that Disney?
Yes.
Oh, is it live action? Didn't they already do that? Oh, but it's a spinoff.
Well, it's just like the story of how Cruella de Vil became Cruella de Vil. You know,
it's having to explain what an origin story is now. Come on.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm having trouble with that. I think it's my 6-year-old is watching the Disney show The Descendants, I think it is. So she came home one day and she goes, "Daddy, put on Descendants." I'm like, "Oh, she's getting into punk rock. This is perfect." And now I'm like, "No. It's not it's not Descendants, the punk band. It's the show where it's the children of I've seen them all. I'll tell you what, the songwriting is quite good. It reminds me of the Backstreet Boys revolution of the early 2000s.
Good.
Very processed. Danny says, I'm a fan, and with the delay, I think he might be a fan of either Descendants, the punk band, or the TV show.
Or Bridgerton.
Oh, Bridgerton.
Or Bridgerton. Michael chiming in, 100% hot. More origin stories. I think I like that as well. Ian still, this is the worst idea I ever had. The worst campaign idea I ever had. I still have the script, Ian. I'll give you the script. It's out there. And we're going to wrap up. Deb says, hot like Wicked for Dorothy and Oz. I saw that here in London.
Yeah, it's good.
I thought it was pretty good. Anyway, we are at the top of the hour. Janine, where can they find you and connect with you and
well, you're very kind
conversation?
on my website there. That's nice. Go and read all my lovely blogs and connect with me on LinkedIn. You can follow me on Clubhouse if you're in there. Last time I looked, I got seven followers.
7 followers. You got to start somewhere. I haven't really done anything except pop into a few rooms, and I've seen a little bit of a spike. So I think you just got to participate. But it's interesting to me about Clubhouse. It's like, I don't think there's really a record, right? It's either you have followers, and I guess they get alerted when you go into a room or start a room, but they can't really see what you've done. So there's really no social proof in Clubhouse.
No.
Is that right? Am I reading this correctly?
Look, so I was trying to speak to, message somebody like, oh, you're in the room too. There's just no way to do it.
I feel like I could just chat about, this is turning into just random thoughts. I like that though. We could do another hour on just sort of a show about nothing the next hour. But Janine,
story for all of the mascots.
Janine, thank you so much for being on the show. Thank you for being an ActiveCampaign customer. Anything you need from us, please let me know. I love your videos. Please keep creating those videos. It's so much fun. We appreciate your time. I do want to give one more shout out quickly for This Just Works. You can register. It's free. You can see me deliver a monologue next week. That in itself should be hot or not, probably not at this point, but I'm working to get the rehearsals down. And then we'll jump into a conversation with Jonah Berger. I think this is the first marketing show to have a sort of a late night feel. We have a special musical guest, Anna Pancaldi, which she is just incredible. So if you haven't seen her, and we have a guided meditation session that I just booked. So lots happening next week on the ActiveCampaign presents This Just Works lunch break. That's a little bit longer of a pitch than I was anticipated. We have 1 minute left. Janine, any last final words for the show here?
Have a nice evening.
Have a nice evening. Ernie, have a nice afternoon. Thank you all for joining. I'm going to check in with the comments one last time. I'm going to go with Ian. Hell yes. Thank you. It's like being a voyeur. You have to message them on my Instagram. Well, I think this is around Clubhouse. I do want to give one more shout out, and then I'll shut up, to Brian Fanzo, who, Ernie, you'll appreciate this. He DJs in Clubhouse, but he goes live on Instagram to take their requests. So it's pretty cool. He's got multicam. And I thought, oh, man, I need to start my 80s heavy metal revival show.
That guy's living in 2031. That's outrageous.
All right, awesome. Thank you, everyone. Wait. Michael says Milo Goes to College is a very underrated album all the way. I agree. I just saw them here in London. That's Descendants, not the Descendants. Descendants. Anyway, awesome. We're going to wrap it up there. We're at the top of the hour. Janine, what a pleasure. Thank you so much, Ernie. Always good to see you. We'll chat soon. Thanks for joining us, everyone. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.